Salutations, and welcome to Horror Boys, the only horror podcast hosted by Boyz, with a Z. I'm your host, Bobby, and joining me, of course, as always, is my co-host, Chuck.
What? You're doing this now? First off, what? Second off, we did this yesterday.
Yeah, we got to do it while the guest is here. And speaking of guest, we're joined by a friend of the podcast, and hopefully friend of the podcasters, Marcus Tuckman. Say hi to everybody, Marcus.
Hey guys, this friendship bracelet you gave me, is this scented floss? Because I think I'm allergic to it.
It's mint waxed, and you're fine. It's fine. Keep it on.
Yeah, keep it on. You're going to want to keep that on.
Okay, sure. Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, so we're doing this now. Cool. Welcome to whatever this is, Marcus.
It's a podcast. Are you familiar with podcasts, Marcus?
Yeah, I listen to them before practice.
See? Podcasts are part of a normal routine, and they help everyone feel normal and relaxed and comfortable, no matter where they are.
Okay.
That's beginning to slightly change for me, but sure.
And that's why we're doing a podcast about horror, to see what we can learn from the genre in all of its forms, including television, sort of, which is what we're tackling today. I did that one for you, Marcus.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that one. I noticed it. Real inside jargon there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you making us sit down and watch the Twilight Zone makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was preparation. We watched season 5, episode 35 of the Twilight Zone, the original one, obviously, because the later one doesn't have 5 seasons. And it's called The Fear.
Yeah. We watched a few before that, but we can talk about The Fear, I guess.
This was the one that was the last written, right? Like Rod Serling was the last one he did.
Is this the last one he did? Yeah, it is the last one he did. Wow, that's sad. He didn't die right after, right? He just went to do other stuff. Yeah, he died in the 70s, so. Yeah, this is the last one he wrote. I mean, it makes sense in retrospect, because this is an extremely Twilight Zone-y episode.
Yeah, it was. It was very verbose.
Yeah, But I also just mean, like, the structure with the, like, weird twist, which we will get into. Like, that's very indicative of a Twilight Zone story.
In what way?
With lots of Twilight Zone episodes have weird twists.
Yeah.
Well, that's it? All you're saying is indicative of a Twilight Zone story because it has a twist?
No,
okay. Well, I mean, we can talk about it more specifically. Let's go over the plot of the episode, and then we can get into more specific. I don't know. I'm not making like a grand point here, but
I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize for Bobby here, Marcus.
Apologize for me.
I accept your apology.
I don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it starts off with Trooper Franklin, right? He's going to the cabin.
Yeah, with a state trooper shows up at a cabin. We initially have no idea why he's here, and then there's a very mean lady.
I don't know if she's mean, but she's definitely a top.
Oh, for sure.
And she's rightfully mean. He's a cop.
Yeah. I mean, and she totally dominates him throughout their conversation. But she is apparently... There's a lot of, like, ambiguity with, like, the exact situation here. She is living in this cabin. She goes down to the town every so often, but doesn't like it. She is from the big city, presumably. We don't really know why she's here, why she has to keep going into the town, even though she hates it.
Well,
but at one point...
why she's here, at least.
Oh, boy, too? Why do we find... What is it?
She had a nervous breakdown.
Oh, yes. Yeah. This is like that... This is a very 50s thing where it's like, oh, the working lady has a breakdown, and she's like... Because she's working too much and wearing too many pants. But she...
I mean, she only wears one pair of pants throughout this whole episode.
Yes. Well, nobody changes their clothes in this episode.
Despite urgings from the listeners.
But she's a magazine fashion editor. She's had a breakdown, so she's trying to recuperate in this cabin. But she hates it, and she hates everyone who lives in the town. She, at one point, has a conversation with we don't see this on screen. This is the thing we find out secondhand. She has a conversation with the owner and operator of the general store, who she calls a pickle barrel wheeler dealer. And she mentions that she's seen some lights up in the woods around her cabin. Which I guess, presumably, she thinks are in her mind if she's there because she's had a nervous breakdown. But the word about these lights gets back to this cop. So he comes up to the cabin to investigate. They engage in a little verbal sparring, and then the lights appear in the woods and scare them both.
Yeah, it's there's a few plot threads here that seem to Okay, so a big thing that happened, like after they get scared by the light, they decide to hang out and spend the night, which I can understand. Like even in these woods here, it's like sleeping alone at night is kind of spooky.
Yeah, and you don't want to go out at night because it's night.
Yeah.
But before that, the lights happen, and then they're like, he's doing, like your classic, square-jawed horror movie, like classical horror movie protagonist thing, where he's just like walking around with his gun out and a flashlight. And
finger on the trigger at all times.
Yeah, no matter who it's pointed at. And some unseen entity possibly moves his car. Or the emergency brake went off. But the car is like moving down the road, like the dirt road, and then it cuts away to like the perspective of the woman like coming out of the cabin, and the car is like totally flipped on its side. All of a sudden, even though it's moving very slowly of its own power initially.
Was it a leisurely jaunt?
Mm-hmm.
It looked like he was ghost riding the whip.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it.
But this would be E51.
And then they go back inside, and they hear voices on the roof. He goes up to the roof, and he sees that something is broken, branches and stuff up there. And then he comes back down, and he sees that the car's back in position, but it's got enormous fingerprints, like manhole cover-sized fingerprints all over it. Like it was moved back into... And it's back where it was, so it looks like a giant hand, and this is the conclusion he comes to, too, has reached down, gripped the car, and moved it back into place.
The definition on those fingerprints makes it seem like the alien was just booked for a crime.
Yeah, or it was like eating a giant powdered donut.
I don't think you brought that up, Bobby. Not that it matters, but just when he sees the lights outside, he's immediately like, "Oh, it's an alien."
Yeah, she's like, "What could it be?" And he lists off like a couple of very quickly and curtly, like he doesn't believe them, lists off a couple of mundane explanations, and then goes, "Or it's aliens," and then quotes Shakespeare while looking wistfully out the window.
With a Duchovnyan speed, he immediately makes the jump over.
Yeah, this character walks so Fox Mulder could run.
I mean, it's not touched on at all, but I 100% believe that this guy went up here specifically because he heard the light story and immediately was like, aliens.
That's probably possible.
I think this dude was looking to shoot some aliens.
He was looking to shoot something the way he had his gun all the time.
He put on his alien shooting jacket.
Which is very squeaky. He's got very squeaky shoes and a very squeaky leather jacket. And every time he moves, it's like...
The scene where he investigates the car is just... It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. Like, half a score of this movie is just the sound of his jacket and shoes. A movie, show, whatever.
Teleplay. After they investigate the fingerprints, they both sleep. She goes into the bedroom and sleeps in the bedroom. He sleeps on a very tiny wooden-framed couch, which looks incredibly uncomfortable. Even more so, because he sleeps in his entire outfit, squeaky jacket and squeaky shoes included, also with his gun on.
Absolutely insane.
There's a reason they called him the greatest generation, and it's because they could sleep like that and get up.
Yeah. They all constantly had a headache because they never drank any water. And they all had bed sores from sleeping with gun belts on. And they killed all the Nazis. Well, killed some of the Nazis. And she comes out of her bedroom, and she's also wearing the same exact outfit she was wearing last night. There's two options here, right? They both didn't change. Or that full ensemble she was wearing with, like, slacks and loafers and, like, a polo neck sweater with a medallion is, like, those are, like, her pajamas. That was, like, her sleeping outfit. She was getting ready for bed to sleep in that, like, Virginia Woolf outfit when he showed up. And then
you don't want to see her casual wear.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of tracks. The medallion makes it very weird.
I 100%... Okay, this is a weird detail, right? But when they showed her, she has this, like, very conspicuous medallion on. I couldn't tell what it was, but to me it looked like it maybe was like an Egyptian thing or something. And I thought that was going to be a plot point. It was not at all. Didn't matter. That was just a costuming detail. But I was weirdly hung up on it the first couple times they showed the medallion on screen.
Yeah, she fiddled with it for a decent amount.
Yeah.
Look, we've all seen Kronos. We were all hoping that it was like a scarab thing.
Yeah, it was a mechanical spider that turns an old man into a vampire. But so they go back out to look around some more, or to try and find a way back into town. They see, again, the car with the fingerprints on it, and then they move away from the house and find a giant footprint. But not like a Bigfoot footprint, like a car-sized shoe footprint.
Yeah, with deep enough to ollie down.
Oh, yeah. They could have, totally just grinded around the rim of this fucking shoe footprint. So
that's the size of its feet. I can't imagine what else it's hiding.
And so they get into like a little bit of like an argument about like whether or not it's a good idea to go into town. And basically her thing is like, what are we going to do? I want to get out of here. Like we need to go tell other people. And his thing is, there's no point in running because this thing is so big that it's just going to smoosh us. And then it appears before them, and it's like a 50-foot tall guy in a spacesuit with a giant eyeball on the front of the space helmet, standing like he has to pee.
It's not even a spacesuit. He's just wearing like friggin' like overalls. He looks like a working man.
Yeah, but I mean it's like a jumpsuit at the very least.
A working man who just got scolded.
Pretty much. And he has a giant eye on him. And he's like doing like a motion that is like the thing where you do a video game and you stop touching the controls for a while and your character just like
the idle
in
motions
place or whatever. Yeah, he's like doing like an idle motion of just like looking around.
Yeah, his like arms are hanging sort of limp in front of him. I think this detail and the thing you pointed out about how conspicuous the fingerprints are, I think are actually very smart. This is a well-directed teleplay to tell an extremely weird story. So they stand in awe of the Cyclops for a while. And at first, she's gonna run, and she, like, talks about, like, oh, are they gonna believe me? And then she decides that she wants to stay with him while he faces down this creature. Earlier when he shows up, she's like, oh, if you want, like, a whiz-bang standoff with evil, you better go somewhere else. But now he's preparing to try and shoot this giant Cyclops, which he compares...
Which I would call a whiz-bang.
Yes, for sure. That bang is totally whizzed. And he compares trying to kill it with his service revolver to trying to take out a helicopter with a pea shooter, or a fighter jet with a pea shooter. But then he shoots the thing, and it falls over on top of them like it's going to crush them. But it doesn't, because it's a giant balloon that deflated.
Just what was it? A runaway from a Thanksgiving parade, I believe is how Miss Scott referenced it.
Yeah. And, like, it totally, like, deflates into, like, a big, like, flat cloth that, like, drapes over them. And they have to, like, fumble out of it. And then they see to the side what, like, a flying saucer, but small. Like, a little one. That, like, comes up to your knees. And, like...
It was just out in the open.
Yeah, they could have seen it before. But I guess, like, if there's an enormous fidgeting Cyclops in front of you... Are you going to notice the little thing that kind of looks like a barbecue grill that's off to the side?
I can see that point. But
yeah.
on the set director, I bestow this mark of shame.
Yeah, they could have put it behind some bushes or something.
On the props director, I bestow a mark of gratitude because that giant beach ball inflatable eye, I wonder where it went to.
Yeah. But so it's like, the reason he was fidgeting around is because it was just a balloon blowing in the wind. Like, they had to direct that guy to stand like he was a balloon.
So I have a theory about that. If you look close at the undeflated balloon alien, it looks like there's a harness on him, which I am now thinking it has been used like on a crane to lift him maybe 3 inches off of the ground.
That makes sense.
To capture the true essence of that swaying.
That's a good solution for trying to get a living human person made of flesh and blood to act physically like a balloon.
Yeah, that does work. I actually didn't really notice anything like that. I thought it was just like part of his overalls.
Yeah. Can you imagine you go into work and they're like, what am I doing today? And they're like, okay, we're going to put a spacesuit on you and then you have to pretend to be a balloon. Okay, sure.
It's not the easiest day at work.
That sounds like a cush gig to me.
Yeah, well, not if you're in a harness the entire time, digging into your armpits.
Yeah.
But so they find this tiny flying saucer, and they go over to it and peer into a conveniently placed window at the top of it. And inside are 2 aliens that look like the inflatable Cyclops balloon. And they're talking in, like, chipmunk voices. And they were doing some kind of experiment, which has failed because the Earthman failed to be afraid of them. And then they beg some unseen Grand Master to give them permission to leave, which I guess he does because they rocket off into space. And then it ends with like a brief conversation between our 2 main characters. The cop is like, you know what? I'm rooting for them. I hope that the next place they go, they get to be the Giants. He's suddenly very sympathetic to these tiny aliens.
Which is wild, because when he first saw the balloon, he didn't even try to talk to it.
No, but the little ones, he's like, somehow in the span of shooting the balloon and seeing the little ones, he's learned like a valuable lesson about humanity. But I guess I have no idea. You know what, I was about to say something that didn't make any sense, because I was going to say, well, when he thought it was the giant was fucking with him. But the little guys were in charge of the fake giant, which means that they were fucking with him. So, never mind, that thesis doesn't make any sense. The little guys reveal in their conversation that they painted on the fingerprints, which is why they look like that. Again, like, solid direction.
Yeah, they also reveal that they used a magnet to get the car to move, which actually makes sense for the way the car slowly rolled up to it and then was flung into it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would get more powerful as it got closer, right?
That is true.
Yeah, and then when it hit the magnet, it'd be tilted on its side.
And she's like, what if the next visitors are giants for real? That's the end.
Yeah, well, I thought it was pretty solid. It's not, the best Twilight Zone episode I've seen, which for me is How to Serve Man. That's my favorite. But, this one was pretty solid. I guess I'd give it like a, 6 out of 10 or something.
Yeah, I think this was, like, well done, but like, I don't really understand what the point was. Like, what is this saying about, like, anything? I guess just things are not always as they appear? Is that the point?
Yeah, I guess. I think it's, like, because, like, the whole point is, like, they're afraid of it. And she's running away, and he's ready to shoot something. And then, when they realize it's not what they think it is, then they have more confidence to deal with the situation.
Okay, that makes...
I thought it was don't shoot a book in its cover.
Well, yeah, that's a lesson any cop could learn.
Yeah. We don't learn what the experiment is. Like, we don't know at all, or have any indication of what would have happened had he actually responded in fear to the balloon clops. So we really don't have any, like, indication about, like, the desires or morality of the little aliens.
Yeah, this felt like a comic relief episode.
Kind of did.
I think if anything, like, the goal, at least, in making it was, like, it'll be funny if it seems really serious and unsettling, and then it's, like, little dudes with chipmunk voices.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, it was like, oh, we need, like, a lighter episode. Let's do something that's kind of, like, by the end, it's like a joke on our own format of, like, hey, here's a twist, but, it's a dumb twist, and it's very funny.
Yeah. I think, if I have to rate it, I guess a 6 out of 10 makes sense. I might even go higher, because, like, I think it was about as well executed as it could have been at the time to do the thing it's trying to do.
Yeah, I guess.
In the time span, too, because it's only 25 minutes.
I'm completely biased. Miss Charlotte kicks ass, so it's 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, no, she is very good.
You definitely had an eye for her, didn't you, Marcus?
Listen, I like them how I like them. Big and mean. That's my type.
Hey, that's fair. Okay. So, are we done? Did we do the thing? Are you happy now, Bobby?
We have way more. We have to do the rest of the episode.
This thing's getting real itchy, by the way.
You kind of want to keep it on.
Right, but one of the beads is broken, and is that actually just glass? Is that just broken glass?
A general goes to war with the army that he has, not the army that he wants, or the craft supplies that he wants.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I don't see a Michaels or an AC Moore around here.
No, I do see that. Is that a hand-drawn anti-Alaska poster?
It's
just a reminder.
Okay.
For safety reasons.
Yeah,
to not go to Alaska.
Y'all remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're not fans of Alaska. I hope that's not offensive to you or anything.
No, No.
Are you Alaskan?
I'm from Kentucky. You're good.
But you know what? I'm Alasking you a question, which is, what for you was the high point of this episode of the Twilight Zone, not this episode of the podcast? Or both.
I think my favorite part was this episode feels like a flex on the English language.
Yeah, the dialogue is very snappy in this. It's very his Girl Friday sort of thing.
Yeah.
But more aggro?
Very aggro.
What'd you say earlier? It was something about a pickle farmer, Bobby?
Pickle barrel wheeler dealer?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's only the tip of the verbal iceberg.
Yeah, she talks about how she's a member of the club of the frightened and nervous, and then when he comes, she's constantly. This I think is another good piece of direction, which could also be a high point for me. She is constantly every time they go in and out of the cabin, they're very pointed about showing her locking the what do you call it? It's not a deadbolt because it's the one on the chain latch lock thing. And then after the fingerprint thing, when they come in, it's the one time that he does it. And she says, oh, I see you've applied for membership in my club.
It's very good, yeah.
Yeah.
They keep with everything feels like it's on purpose.
Yeah, I think the banter was definitely very enjoyable in this. I love the giant inflatable eye. I think I already said that.
Yeah, I think it's great. The giant inflatable eye at the end, after the thing deflates, is very good. I like that whole sort of part where it's switching over from being where this is a horror and suspense thing that's taking itself seriously to this is surreal and absurd. You get that kind of middle area, which I really like. I was just typified by the moment where he says it's basically going to be possible for me to kill this thing, and then he shoots it and it starts falling down, and then it starts becoming flat, and there's this moment where just everything slips away, and it's these characters have no idea how the world works anymore for this brief moment, and I really kind of enjoyed that, and also kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get that.
It's good stuff. It's a powerful piece of art. In that one moment for 2 seconds as an alien is deflating. Do you have any low points?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I feel like by the end it just kind of feels a little bit unrealized. I mean, I get that they're probably working on a slim budget, but we don't really know too much about the characters as we were given. The fact that they slept in the same outfits is really weird. And then also, I think what really bothered me a lot about the giant inflatable alien and the tiny little spaceship is okay, they came there with that giant inflatable alien. First off, how did they get it there? And secondly, how in the hell did they blow all that air into it?
I did not even think about. I mean, they're space.
Chuck,
I assume
I
they have some.
Yep, go ahead, buddy.
I mean, I assume they've got some kind of super spaceman vacuum thing that can deflate it really tiny and inflate it super fast.
Vacuum seal.
Right?
It's big.
Yeah, I guess. I
mean,
don't know.
they got a magnet powerful enough to move a car. Like, I assume they just have super advanced tiny people technology.
Yeah, maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know. What did you have any faults with it, Marcus?
Yeah. Officer Franklin has an unreasonable amount of swag.
Yes.
He does. He's an entire vibe, and he's threatening.
He's as hot as he is squeaky.
Yeah.
He is very squeaky, so yeah.
Beyond that, there's just like the 15 uninterrupted seconds of Officer Franklin's leather jacket and leather shoes just going wild on each other.
Is there something to this? Is not their high or low point. This is an observation. Is there something to the idea that like these guys are tiny, right? So like is it saying something about like the way they're projecting their fears onto other people, where it's like they're tiny, so they must fear giant things, and they encounter giants on the reg, and then they make a giant to scare this guy, and he surprises them by not being totally scared of it. Or it would be like, we landed on a planet and then chased around the aliens with like a robot lion.
See, I thought the lesson was just shoot what you're scared of.
That's a pretty good lesson. And also a pretty bad lesson.
I have known for a while, Bobby, that you're afraid of robot lions. I don't know if that applies to everybody, but, you know, I guess you could shoot one of those.
All the killing power of a lion.
What about you, Bobby? Do you have any low points?
It's not really like a low point. I guess I just wish stuff was more fleshed out. I appreciate how efficiently they use their time to set everything up. But yeah, I sort of agree with Chuck, where it's like, at the end, I think what typifies my sort of like problem, quote unquote, with it, is the fact that at the end of this, I had to ask you both, hey, what was the point of this? So yeah, I guess that's my low point. Like, there wasn't really like a moment. I mean, it moves so quickly, and there's so little of it. I mean, there definitely wasn't like a like chronological moment in time where I was like, ugh, this ain't good. So yeah,
I agree with that.
That's my take on it.
I mean, it was a solid episode. I don't know if it's as memorable, but it did have some good moments.
I'm gonna remember the giant inflatable eye.
Yeah, me too.
I'll think about it every day.
Those who forget the giant inflatable eye are doomed to repeat it.
That's good advice.
That's Shakespeare.
That's Shakespeare.
We should write that down on the Alaska map.
Okay, you can do that on the Alaska map that you made.
I mean, look, I may be an amateur cartographer, but I think I captured the essence of it. If that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, I look at that and I see a amateur cartographer's attempt at a map of Alaska.
Thank you. I think. Let's well, this feels weird to do now but let's assess the threat and head to Threatco, where the threats go.
So my understanding is that the threat of this episode that we watch is, you know, tall, intimidating, always has their weapon pointed at you, but you know, we'll hear them coming because they're very squeaky.
Yeah,
that is the threat.
I mean, look, if we want to break it down in the abstract, we can do that. I appreciate where you're going with your threat assessment, and I agree with you. But also, if we want to look at the aliens, like, I get at the end, they're defeated by not being afraid of them, and also by shooting a balloon. But they are capable of interstellar travel, have a giant, powerful magnet, some sort of apparatus to paint things very quickly on a large scale, and they have a giant balloon that they can transport in a small space and inflate to a very large size. Okay, none of those are particularly scary, but they could, like, hit you with the spaceship.
No, I mean, that's all fine. I was talking about the cop.
No, I know. That's what I was saying. I wasn't saying that.
That's more scary to me than tiny little aliens, or even a giant inflatable balloon.
The cop is more scary. He has a gun. He will shoot it. He's been in wars, so he's killed before, and he'll do it again.
And he's a very menacing air to him.
It may be the 164th dog that I have in me, but the fact that there's a vacuum alluded to that's powerful enough to make that giant balloon fit on that little shit. That does kind of terrify me.
You're saying it could suck your guts out like if you put your butt on the vent in a pool?
That's exactly it.
Oh man, they did that in the Final Destination movie. It was like 4, I think, where they had one of the characters get their guts sucked out through their butt in a pool.
It happens every day.
Every day.
Terrifying.
I'm really interested in what all in these dogs you got in you. What happened to the other 63 dogs?
Well, once they saw what I did to the first one, they weren't really too peachy keen.
Okay, so what we've got to worry about is getting our guts sucked out through our butts by a giant vacuum, and a trigger-happy cop, but he's very squeaky. So could we survive these?
No, I don't think so.
In
my mind, here's what I'm thinking about, right? So, cop shows up, he shoots us, we're dead, right? Also, if there is a giant balloon out there, vacuum aside, if we find some way to pop it and it falls on us, there's no way we're getting out of that. We're going to suffocate.
Our reality does flatten.
That thing's going to crush us.
Yeah, they had to use the jaws of life to save me in grade school when we did that thing where you have to run under the parachute that's falling. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, Bobby gets stuck in things pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a real problem. But what if we could survive? How would we do it?
Okay, well, from my understanding in this teleplay, as you said, the state trooper is very easily scared away and distracted by an idea that aliens might be around. So we just do our own little pranks on the state trooper and also don't let him in.
I have an idea, though, because he shows up ready to kill, but he doesn't shoot Charlotte. And I think it might be because she negged him so hard.
Oh.
So what if we just do that?
Oh, yeah. Your jaw's so square, I could use it to build a table.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I love how you just wear that jacket with anything.
Yeah. What is it with your tiny ass gun?
And your big ass flashlight.
Humongous flashlight. Yeah.
Yeah. Get that flashlight. His flashlight is so big. Did we talk about how big his flashlight is?
We didn't touch on it
No.
once.
It's yeah, it's enormous. It's disproportionately large. It looks like a soup bowl on the end of a pole. And he's carrying it through most of the movie. I did it again. Through most of the episode.
Yeah, it seems like that's more hefty than the gun. And also, did he sleep with that flashlight equipped to him? Because that also seems painful.
One must assume.
Okay.
So neg the cop.
So that's the state trooper, right? Neg the cop.
And do not fear the balloon. And then we win. See, here's the thing. We don't know what the aliens were going to do if he was afraid. I'll tell you right now. If I saw a giant cyclops and I didn't think it was a balloon, I would be scared. So, but we have no idea what that version of events would entail. Would they just, read my adrenaline levels and then go write a paper about me on Tiny Guy Planet? Or are they going to, cut me open and take my brain?
Well, what's your fear response?
Hole up in a cabin and record a podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but, if I saw a giant 30-foot thing looking at me, just moving around like an idle animation in a video game, I would at least try to talk to it.
Oh, I would definitely try to talk to it. He is not interested in communicating with the aliens. I wonder how they would respond to that.
No, if I saw this thing out in the field, I'd respond with violence.
Well, clearly that's the right answer, because that's what works out for them.
Stab first.
I like the idea of the aliens watching us, and they're talking to the balloon. What? It's not responding. What are they talking about?
Look like an alien sting a balloon.
It's weird that, the show is, rewarding the response with violence, right?
Yes. I guess that's weird.
And I feel like respond with violence is, a normal fear tactic, right? For, people that aren't me and Bobby. Sounds like maybe you, Marcus. But, if that's what's going to happen and you have this balloon, it seems like a poor plan.
Yeah, you know what? They say that he wasn't afraid. It is weird that the ethos is the fact that he chose to shoot it is supposed to be indicative of him being fearless. But I guess it's different from, like, if it was a human-sized alien and he just started shooting at it. That feels like that's more of a fear response than him choosing to do battle. Like, I think the idea is supposed to be that it's not fear because he's choosing to do battle with the alien in a situation that he's pretty sure he's going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right, but it is still a fear response to choose to do battle.
Yeah, I guess like the non-fear response would just be if he saw it and he went, and walked away.
See, I thought that his fear response was to wax philosophical, and that the shooting of the alien was kind of like a compromise.
He must have been so disappointed when it turned out to be a balloon and not a corpse, so that he couldn't like stand over it and deliver another Shakespeare soliloquy.
It's true. Alas, pure Zornok.
Looks like aliens are just like you and me. They'll die if you shoot them with bullets.
Exit pursued by bear. Okay. This really didn't teach us anything, huh?
No.
Yeah. But this has been like a great time. I do have to go, though. I was supposed to be getting some action up here, some consensual over the pants hand stuff. But I fear as though my romantic partner may have absconded without me. So I'm going to head off. It was a pleasure talking to you boys. You have a great time.
It was great having you on the show, Marcus. I'd love to have you back anytime.
Yeah.
Good luck with the pants stuff.
Yep.
It was nice having somebody else around. Great meeting you, Marcus.
Yeah, same.
He shouldn't really look for her, right? Like, that's not what you should do.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't here for that episode.
That's true. Wait, he left. Wait, he shouldn't have left.
Oh,
Oh, shit. No, we didn't tell him not to leave.
It's fine. We don't know for sure that it'll kill you if you're during the daytime. So, he's fine.
We spent all day watching the Twilight Zone. It's dark out now.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit, fuck. No, we gotta grab him.
No, I'm not going out there.
Fine, I'll go grab him.
No.